If you've used ChatGPT, Copilot, or any of the AI assistants that have captured the world's attention over the past couple of years, you've experienced large language models in action. In this lecture, we'll understand what's actually happening behind the scenes, not at a technical level, but at a level that helps you think strategically about these tools. Let's start with the broader field, natural language processing, or NLP for short. Natural language processing is the branch of AI focused on enabling computers to understand, interpret, and generate human language. It's been around for decades, but for most of that time it has been limited. Early systems could do things like count word frequencies or follow rigid grammatical rules, but they couldn't really understand meaning or context. Think about the voice assistants from 10 years ago. You had to speak in very specific ways. Call mom. Set timer for 10 minutes. Step outside those narrow patterns and the system would fail. That was the state of NLP for a long time. Useful for specific constraint tasks, but brittle and limited. What changed? Scale. Large language models. A large language model, often abbreviated as LLM, is a specific type of AI system trained on massive amount of text. And when I say massive, I mean essentially the text of the internet. Books, articles, websites, forums, code repositories, academic papers, billions upon billions of words. The model learns by trying to predict what word comes next in a sequence. Given the capital of France is, what's the next word likely to be? Paris. But here's the remarkable thing. By learning to predict the next word across trillions of examples, the model develops what appears to be a genuine understanding of language, facts, reasoning, and even nuance. I want to be careful here, because there's a genuine debate about what these models understand versus what they're merely simulating. But from a practical standpoint, from your standpoint as a leader, what matters is what they can do, and what they can do is remarkable. Large language models can summarize documents, answer questions, write content in different styles, translate between languages, analyze sentiments, extract key information from unstructured text, generate code, and engage in open-ended conversation. And they can do all of this without being explicitly programmed for each task. This is sometimes called emergent capability, abilities that arise from the training process without being explicitly designed. Now, let's talk about what leaders need to understand about how these models actually work. Again, conceptually, not technically. First, LLMs are trained on historical data. Their knowledge has a cutoff date. They don't know what happened yesterday unless they're connected to real-time information sources. This matters for any use case involving current events or rapidly changing information. Second, LLMs can hallucinate. This is the term for when they generate confident-sounding information that's simply wrong. They might cite studies that don't exist, invent statistics, or get facts subtly incorrect. They're optimized to produce plausible-sounding text, and sometimes plausible isn't the same as accurate or true. Third, LLMs reflect their training data, including its biases and limitations. If the training data contain biased perspectives or inaccurate information, the model may reproduce those patterns. This is especially important for applications involving hiring, customer service, or any decisions that affect people. Fourth, these models are expensive to train but relatively cheap to use. Building a frontier LLM costs hundreds of millions of dollars or more, but once trained, running queries against it is comparatively affordable. This economic reality shapes the market. A few large players can afford to build foundation models, when many organizations build applications on top of them. So what does this mean for you strategically? It means LLMs are incredibly powerful tools for any task involving language. And in business, that's a lot of tasks. Customer communications, document analysis, content creation, knowledge management, coding, research assistance. Use cases are broad, but it also means you need guardrails. human oversight, fact-checking processes, LLM ops, clear guidelines about when LLM output can be used directly versus when it needs review. We'll cover this in depth when we discuss risk management. The companies getting the most value from LLMs right now are those that have figured out how to deploy them for real work while managing the limitations. That's the balance you need to strike. In the next lecture, we'll look at a distinction that often gets confused in the press: the difference between predictive AI and generative AI, and why both matter for different reasons.